downturn,
Asa,
which is to mean that,
sorry for
yes?
Sorry for interruption. We cannot see your presentation. Can you show your presentation?
Okay, we'll try to see.
Share a screen. There is a button on at down of the screen. Share a screen.
Okay, okay. Let us look and see. Check. So,
Can I?
yes, we are trying to see how we can, see?
We can do to present it.
Esra hocam sesiniz gelmiyor.
Je ne sais pas si vous parlez français peut-être.
Oui, on parle.
Oui, c'est tout en bas de l'écran, il y a un bouton en vert.
Thank you.
Bouton vert, écran partagé. Voilà, écran partagé.
Écran partagé.
Voilà, c'est ça. Et vous partez sur écran. Vous cliquez sur écran et ça va être bon.
Oh, ouais, c'est bon.
C'est bon là? Ben, on voit rien encore. Ah, là, c'est bon. Là, c'est bon. On a Freddy a commencé le partage d'écran. Ah, c'est bon. Super. Bon courage.
Ah, quel bonheur qu'on a un team multilingue aujourd'hui dans notre équipe. Merci beaucoup.
Yes, thanks.
Okay. Okay. Thanks for the help, and we are hoping that the presentation now is being viewed by each and everyone.
Yes, we can see it. You can.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Here's the study context that I started talking about. The debate that is going on that has been going on over the years concerning the nature of the relationship between unemployment and mortality, and some studies. While some studies establish a positive relationship, like Adolfo and Salami, 2018, Sullivan and Struley, 2009, Brennan, 1984. Others present a negative relationship. We have Granados, 2008, Room 2000, Ionite, and 2013. Now, some scholars, equally as I was saying, some scholars have it that the sick are more likely to become more unemployed when an economy is experiencing a downturn. Employers first lay off workers who are sick, and because of that, they may experience hardship, which may affect them negatively, both physically and mentally. That was Griffin, 1993. Now, the negative effects of unemployment on health is as a result of the loss of income, but also the deprivation of social, psychological, and non-pecuniary benefits. Now, as concerning the reason why we had to carry out this study is because unemployment has been one of the greatest challenges in the development of Africa, with an estimated 10.9% and 10.4% of job seekers in 2003 in sub-Saharan Africa and in North Africa, respectively, which are the second and third worst highest unemployment rates, respectively, after the Middle East. In the same light, Africa faces the planet's worst health situations, according to the World Health Organization report on African regional health in 2019. And according to them, this worst health situation is as a result of illnesses blamed on poor hygiene, sanitation, drinking water, and widespread poverty. So as a matter of fact, the study of the effect of unemployment on health in sub-Saharan Africa will provide some empirical responses to unemployment health issues. Now, our main research questions is, what is the effect of unemployment on health? Our work, therefore, specifically aims at giving responses to the following questions. What is the effect of unemployment on adult female and male mortality and on total mortality rates in sub-Saharan Africa? Secondly, does unemployment rates have an effect on mortality rates, total female and male, in both the middle income countries and in low income countries? Now, based on our main objective, based on those questions, our main objective is to determine the effect of unemployment on health in sub-Saharan Africa. And from this main objective, we have two specific objectives. Our first objective, we want to determine the effects of unemployment on unemployment rates, adult female and adult male. We took adult female and adult male because they are those who are concerned with unemployment. Then equally, we aim at evaluating unemployment rates on mortality in both the middle income countries and the low income countries of sub-Saharan Africa. Now, based on these objectives, our hypotheses that shall be tested, we have two of them, which are unemployment rate does not have an effect on mortality rate, adult female and adult male. Then unemployment rates does not have an effect on mortality rates in both the middle income countries and the low income countries. In order to evaluate our main objective, our work, the main objective of our work, our methodology is centered around 2 points. Firstly, we carry out a statistical analysis, which is based on analyzing the interdependence of our variables. Then secondly, from an econometric point of view, we were inspired of the works of Bartholomew and Varoudakis and employed a modified GMM of Arellano and Bond models, which follow Rudman in 2009. And we did the two-step regression analysis. To realize the above, the following equations were used. Now, here are the equations. We have 5 different equations. We were to verify the effect of unemployment rate on female mortality, the effect of unemployment on male mortality, the effect of unemployment on total mortality, the effect of unemployment on mortality in middle income countries, and the effect of unemployment on mortality in low income countries. That is why we have 5 different equations that we can see. Then our data, or the data that we use in our work, is a time series data that covers a period of 12 years from 2006 to 2017, collected from secondary sources and a cross-section of 10 countries in sub-Saharan Africa. The data was collected from the World Bank database, the World Health Organization database, from the International Labour Office database. The 10 countries are stratified sample of sub-Saharan Africa with 3 from West Africa, 3 from Central Africa, 2 from East Africa, and 2 from South Africa. The selection of these countries was based on the World Bank income classification, including countries of the upper, middle, and lower middle income groups, and countries of the low income groups, and also on the availability of data. This was to make sure that the sample is an actual representation of the population. Now, going to our results, we first of all went to carry out the unit tests in order to test the stationarity of all our variables. We carried out a unit test, and the unit test that we carried out was based on Levin-Linchu unit root test. And we realized that out of our variables, all were stationary at levels except for 2 of the variables that were stationary at the first lag. That is our gross national income per capita and our population growth. Both of them were stationary at first lag, while the others were stationary at level. Then we equally went further to carry out a co-integration test. Our co-integration test, we did it to test for our female mortality rates. And then we carry out the test and we noticed that there is a long-term relationship between unemployment and female mortality based on the result that we have. Equally, we did the same for adult male mortality rate. And we equally noticed that there is a long-term relationship between unemployment and male mortality rate. We equally did the same for total mortality rate to look at about the relationship between unemployment and total mortality rate. And we equally noticed that there is a long-term relationship equally between unemployment and total mortality rate. Now, after carrying out those tests, we went further now to carry out our regression analysis. And considering the fact that we were using the GMM, which necessitated the use of instruments, we had to employ the GMM, the modified GMM done by Arolano-Bon, the Arolano-Bon model. And we chose it because this model is a model where we can introduce our instruments, since our variable unemployment is an endogenous variable, and we needed to test to see if the instruments that will be used will be valid. That is why we carried out this, we used this modified Arolano-Bon model to carry out our analysis. And when we did that, we noticed that this model was very good because it first of all takes care of autocorrelation. It takes care of autocorrelation. It equally takes care of homoscedasticity, homoscedasticity. And lastly, the model is good because it equally carries out an overall test to see if the model that is being used is good. And when we look at our result, we notice that unemployment was actually our result at the p-value of unemployment is showing that it is statistically significant at the first and the second lag of our analysis. And so it means that unemployment actually is a good variable that affects mortality rate. And then we equally notice that at the first lag, unemployment positively affects mortality rate because our coefficient has a positive sign, which means that unemployment actually positively affects mortality rate. That was the case for female mortality rate. And when we equally did the same to test, we equally carry out an analysis to see the effect of unemployment on male mortality rate, and we arrived at the same result, noticing that there is a positive relationship between unemployment and female mortality rate at the first lag. Same with the situation of total mortality rate. We still carry out the same analysis, and we notice that with total mortality rate at first lag, unemployment affects total mortality rate positively. Then we equally carried out an analysis for middle income countries. We regrouped the countries according to middle income groups. Why did we group it like this? Because we noticed that the World Bank has grouped the countries in these different groups, and we wanted to see if the effects differ from each of these countries which are found in these different groups. That is why we grouped all the countries in the middle income groups, and we equally carried out the analysis, and we equally noticed that there is a positive relationship between unemployment and mortality and total mortality rate in this country. However, in the case of low-income countries, it was different. In low-income countries, we noticed that unemployment rather has a negative relationship with mortality rate, with total mortality rate, meaning that as unemployment rises, mortality rate rather decreases. Now, based on our analysis, our conclusions and recommendations were as follows. After carrying out a series of tests, the test of cross-sectional dependence, stationarity test, co-integration test, and test of endogeneity and identification of the model, the result revealed that the co-integration analysis supports a robust long-term relationship between our variables, and we equally realized that a 1% rise in unemployment rate at the first lag leads to a 0.5